writing about the subject and is passionate about people who are also excited about the subject. That's leadership. It's effective communication with a singular vision to make a change. And you together this morning, I think, are part of that singular vision for National Science Week, a really important occasion for us, and so very thrilling to have you among us today. So I'm Robert Balfour. I'm the 8th Vice Chancellor and Rector here, and I'm delighted also to be accompanied by my colleagues, who I want especially to acknowledge, who put a lot of energy and effort into getting us all together this morning, and we are blessed with a lovely day. So otherwise, if it was a cold and raining day, we would be freezing in this room, I must tell you from experience. And especially to say thank you to Professor Fanelwa and Jeke Ayai, who is also the winner, very modestly not made mention of this when she stood up here, but she is the winner of our National Science Technology Forum Award for empowering marginalized South African learners by making STEM education more accessible through hands-on learning. So, Prof. Fanelwa, we must say thank you and well done. Well done. I'm also in the company of our Dean, Prof. Raj Govardhan, of the Faculty of Education, and Dr. Benita Nell, who's among us, and our colleagues, all of our colleagues who I've met this morning from the faculty who are here. Thank you for the leadership and for making it possible to bring us together this morning. I think everybody is excited, enthusiastic, and we want to get going with the program that lies ahead. I also want to recognize our keynote speaker, Mrs. Natasha Davis-Wolmerans, who's the Director for Pollution and Chemicals Management in the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning in Western Cape Government. Is Natasha in our audience? Natasha, welcome with us, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And then to our Science Learning Center for Africa, what we call the SLCA at UWC. Thank you from my side for the coordination and convening of the event. National Science Week at UWC is now an annual fixture on our calendar and links our research to real-world challenges. It wasn't too long ago, in fact, I think it was maybe 3 weeks ago, we had Megamaths here. It was UWC's first experience with Megamaths, the National Megamaths Festival. And I've never seen so many people interested in mathematics in one space. The space was too small for all the maths people in that room, and it was a wonderful occasion, and I think we all derived enormous value from it. This year's theme, Clean Water, Clear Minds and Strong Communities, reminds us that water is both vital and limited. It underpins our day-to-day health. It underpins the value of our education. It sustains livelihoods. And for those of us who have lived through water cuts or water shortages, you only know how much you need it and how much of it you need when you don't have it. I think all of us can live without electricity, you can make do, but a water shortage is something else, it's next level, and it is very much then a survival question. So when we are here today to think about water in our environment, we are here out of the urgency of knowing that it is so scarce, such a rare resource, that people have predicted in the future major conflicts will be fought about access to water. One of our scientists who is well known for this area of work is Professor Priscilla Baker, who won the L'Oreal Women in Science Award internationally. It's almost like a Nobel Prize. She comes from UWC, and her work shows the development of electrochemical sensor platforms that can detect trace contaminants in water like nickel and mercury. Really amazing lab-based scientific work that has a huge impact out there on our river systems and our water systems. So if you are thinking about water as a future area of study and you're passionate about science, you're in the right place at the right time on the right day today. Similarly, the work of Prof. Bongani Ngube, who is our SACHI Chair in Water Governance Economics, demonstrates that performance in irrigation infrastructure and water governance directly impacts on our socio-economic well-being of communities like Genadendal in the Western Cape. His research shows that water challenges are not only technical challenges, they're not just the science challenges, they are also deeply social challenges. And you will know this because all of us love food in this room. I think some of you can see, like me, love more food, like it more than others. And you will know that when you go somewhere to have a meal, and some of us are allergic to certain things and can't drink certain things, you know what I mean when I say food is a social issue. How you eat, what you eat, binds us as human beings together. So when we think of food, it's not just the material digestion and so on. We are thinking about what it means to be part of a group, a family, a community, and so on. We are proud to be part of this national initiative led by the Department of Science and Innovation, which is coordinated through the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement. It's known as SASTA. I'm sure some of you would have heard of SASTA. SASTA's work also aligns with UWC's broader focus on the environment and sustainability and capacity building. Big words that in their essence speak about our capacity to live in our space, place, and circumstance in a sustainable way from day to day. Water scarcity, we know, affects millions of people. We are privileged this morning that we can walk around our homes and be on a campus and open a tap and water comes out and it's drinkable. That is an absolute privilege on our globe. It's a minority of people who have it. So the conversations that we're having about scarcity as part of the program demands that we ask, how can research help us to preserve, allocate, and manage our water better? The answer lies in collaborative, interdisciplinary work that draws on science, policy, and if you walk upstairs and look at the art exhibition that's also available to young people who put together pictures and drawings of water and science, you'll see that art has a significant part to play in our understanding of the importance of the issues and the solutions that we bring to them. We are holistic beings. And integrating art and science, I think, is part of what makes us a whole person in our development. So this involves today all of us as educators, learners, policymakers who are present. We are also citizens of this country who are present. And by encouraging community-based science and academic engagement, UWC is aiming to emphasize that partnership matters to us to promote environmental literacy and inclusive research. The event today also brings together a focus on the various water disciplines that I've spoken about, from environmental sciences and water management resource work to governance, public health, innovation, technology, have all come together today. And our scholars, our UWC scholars that I've celebrated, both Prof. Vanelwa and Prof. Baker and Prof. Ngube, are not only producing impactful research, they are with us in the training of new generations of young scientists who are going to make a difference in our lives going forward, so that by the time those of us who are adults in this room age as we do and look forward hopefully to a stable life in our older age, these critical issues which are with us now have been partly addressed through the work of the people that we have doing that research. So thank you to our researchers in this room for making that future more believable for us as young people. Yes. Yeah. So education is really an investment in the future. In essence, that is what it is. An investment in our survival, an investment in the beauty and the nourishment of our planet, an investment in what it means to be human in the fullest extent of the word. A human being, I always believe, without education is at a serious deficit in terms of potential to survive, potential to thrive, and potential to grow beyond self-interest. To the young learners here today, we are here for you, actually. It's a chance for you to ask questions and explore all those ideas that you have. and imagine your future together. There is no intelligence in this room. I always say to my colleagues, there is no intelligence in a room unless you put the question out there. So no question is stupid. And everyone should feel the power to ask a question is actually the beginning of understanding. Every question counts. So this program, as I said, includes an art competition. Thank you to the faculty for thinking in that way about science, themed about water. And we received a whopping 174 entries from the art competition from learners across the province. And the artworks, when you see them, you will be stunned, as I was sitting there. I thought to myself, these are such sophisticated pieces with complex messages that are represented for the viewer. And there's a lot to take away from just looking at a piece and thinking about what it means. So thank you to all of you and to your teachers and your parents who are with us today who supported those submissions. Can I check in the room who put in a submission for the art competition? Just put up your hands. Who among us? Oh, that's great. That's great. I'm so glad you did it. So we have 174 entries, and they're on the screen upstairs for you to have a look at when you have a chance. Though art and science seem different, both require very careful observation, scientific observation, imagination, and a drive to understand the world. I know it from my own experience, I must tell you, as an academic who grew up in an entirely academic space with the curriculum as the focus. I was so surprised when I came to do the art studies to find that the technical work, the technical skill involves a high level of scientific thinking. When we talk about coherence, perspective, foregrounding, backgrounding, those are terms in the art world that make the same meaning in the academic world. In my closing remarks then, I would like to thank the Department of Science and Innovation, the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement, SASTA, and our UWC colleagues from the faculties of Natural Sciences and Education. We also want, I think, to mention our sponsors, and thank you then to Standard Bank, to Iziko Museums, Itemba Labs, and Cape Books and College Supplies. It's really great that you're with us today, and you also hold this event passionately in your priorities. We are thrilled by the support, and we would love to welcome you back to UWC at any time. To the exhibitors who have gathered, you'll see that there are quite a number of them upstairs and throughout the faculty building. Thank you for sharing your knowledge in ways that are accessible and engaging. I was a little bit late in coming down the stairs because I had my hands for the first time on a drone. I was looking at how a drone was working and its little wings. And I asked Alvin, our colleague, or I think it was Gesant, our colleague, I said, how do the wings not knock into each other when they're flying? So I got distracted with the drone upstairs. And finally, a very big thank you to all the learners who are here and the parents and teachers. We hope that today will give you some new insight, something new to learn, and will shape an idea of a future goal for yourselves. Through events like this morning's events, may we all become more conscious of the value of clean water, more inspired by the power of science to unlock the answers to complex problems, and more committed together to building an informed and connected community. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Prof. Balfour, for your address this morning. And I want to say thank you to everyone for the applause for the award. I see the award as what UWC stands for. And UWC is a community of love. It's a community that gives without expecting anything in return. So I'm very grateful to have received the award this week on behalf of the organization that I stand for, but also for the fact that I am a product of UWC, and I'm very proud of that. Often people say that, oh, you have to go to another institution. Yes, it's good, but I think it has worked for me being here, and I really want to encourage the young people seated here today that you are welcome, that your future is at UWC. When you are ready to come to UWC, you are here. Prof, I just want to say that I admire your humility. What you didn't say is that a leader who is available and a leader who is humble is a good leader, and that is what I see in you. You are available. For a Vice Chancellor who is busy, we know how hectic your schedule is, but you are able to be visible in everything, no matter how little we think of the event, but you're always visible. Your humility is really warming to all of us as the staff at UWC, so thank you. And I just want to mention your style, Prof. Your style. Is anybody noticed this morning that Prof is not joking around here? Prof is not joking around. When he sees people, he puts himself together. So colleagues and parents and teachers and students, please give another warm round of applause to Prof Balfour. So the next time you open your tap at school, just be mindful of today that clean water, clear minds, and strong communities. We need strong communities, and strong communities must have, clean water and an abundance of water. So the next time you leave the tap dripping, just remember today. Just remember that you were here, that you were told about the importance of water and the importance of preserving our water. I remember Cape Town a few years ago. Okay, you, this side, may not remember. Maybe you were babies, but the parents and the teachers and maybe some of the high school learners will remember that it was really, really tough. It was very hot, and people had to buy water, and you had to drink a cup only when you really need to, and wash only if you really need to. So we've seen what happens when we don't take care of our water. Okay, so everyone, I just want to welcome Prof. Govender, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Education. So see him as the principal of the School of Education here. So it takes care of all the staff members, the technical staff members, the securities, everybody that operates within the faculty. He takes care of everyone here. Prof. Balfour takes care of all of us. We are all his children. He just doesn't know yet. We are all his babies, so we keep on crying, Prof, we need you here. Prof, we need you here. So same as Prof. Govender, everybody cries to him, Prof, we need you here. Prof, this is what we want. So Prof, welcome to give your address this morning.
Once again, good morning to all of you. This year's theme, Clean Water, Clean Minds, and Strong Communities, reminds us that science is not just about theories and data, but rather about life, justice, and the dignity of all people. Now, this bottle of water is quite small, isn't it? Yeah. It's priceless, it's tasteless, it's clean, isn't it? Yeah. But as our Vice Chancellor said, our next war will be fought over water and clean water. If I recall, in my younger days, we did not pay for water. The municipality never charged us for water. It was abundantly free. Nowadays, the municipality charges us for the water that comes via the meter, but has also cleverly decided to use the same amount of water and calculate an amount to charge you for the sewer cost. So the more water you use, the more your sewer cost is, and the more your bill comes. So it's something that we need to look at. I recall, I lived in Durban. I should go quite often to the beach and walk to the beach. But recently, when I went to the beach with my wife and my children, we could not swim. Why? The levels of E. coli were so high that there were warning boards, do not swim. So it was a hot day, you could not swim. So recreational activities come to a stop, you understand? So pollution does have an impact on the quality of water, the clean water, as well as on recreational activities and other opportunities that we have to use water for production of food, etc. And you know the drought that we had in the Western Cape, the amount of strain and stress that we all had to go in to use a little bit of water to do what we do every day. That was quite an experience for all of us. But for the young learners, hydrogen and oxygen brings you water. So it's a nice experiment for you to perform in your labs, to understand how important water is, but how we can also make our own water in our labs. So clean water is a basic human right, yet many communities do not have it. And for our learners in particular, and also our family members and other people, that this often results in learners getting sick, not being well, and not being able to go to school, and they miss out on a lot of work. And therefore, this is imperative that all of us, from an early stage in our lives, respect water. It's important for our continuity of our life. Earth, over 70% of the earth is made up of water. It's surrounded by water, and bulk of your body is made up of water. So you have to take absolute care of water. So we cannot speak of clear minds and strong communities unless we address this basic need. At the Faculty of Education, we are committed to a science and mathematics education that is both rigorous and relevant. Our work is grounded in sustainability, social justice, and transformation. We aim to develop students and learners like you who are curious, critical, and ready to apply the knowledge to real-world challenges like ensuring access to clean water. That is why today's event matters. It shows us that science is more than a subject. It is indeed a solution. Whether it's designing filters or testing water quality, our learners and teachers can be powerful agents of change, starting right where they are currently. We must also remember science education must be inclusive. Let us empower all learners to see themselves as scientists, engineers, and problem solvers. In our classrooms, we must nurture curiosity. In teacher training, we must promote high-level thinking and bold thinking. And in leadership, we must invest, as UWC does, in education and build resilient minds and strong communities. To every learner here today, you're already shaping the future of our water and our quality of our water. To our teachers, your work plants the seeds of innovation and hope. And to our academic partners, let us continue building science education which matters. Finally, together, let's ensure a future where clean water flows, minds thrive, and communities flourish. Thank you, and enjoy a meaningful National Science Day. Thank you.
Prof. Govender, thank you very much for your address. I think it reminds us today that as we get old, anyway, some of you, because I'm not getting old, some of you that are getting old, and some of you in the audience, some of us are getting young. I think I'll be in high school next year. So it just reminds us that we need people like you today. We need young people to ensure that our future is safe. You know, as we get older now, there's less and less that we can do. But you as young people have fresh ideas. You know, technology has come in, it's taking over, but you guys understand technology more than us. And that is how you'll be able to solve our water crisis around the world. So, Prof. Govender, thank you very much for touching on those very important points to remind us that young people are the future. But without our teachers, we can't be educated. So we need to thank our teachers and be grateful for our teachers and our parents. I mean, I remember when I was young, my mother was very busy working, so it wasn't often that she would accompany me to school. So I'm really pleased to see parents that are available this morning and the teachers who took the time to be here, because without them, then the future is bleak for every young person. Today, we have a special keynote address by a very important partner today and a very important person to the Faculty of Education and UWC. And that is Mrs. Natasha Davis Volmerans. She is the Director of Pollution and Chemicals Management in the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning in the Western Cape government. I just want to read a little bio about Mrs. Davis-Wolmarans. She has 20 years experience in the water environmental sector. She completed her BSc and honors degree, specializes in environmental and geographical sciences at the Universities of Cape Town and the Western Cape respectively. I want to emphasize Western Cape, University of Western Cape. Did you hear that? That's us, Western Cape. She later obtained her MSc in Water Management and Government at the UN IHE Institute for Water Education in the Netherlands, Delft. She spent most of her career at the National Development of Water and Sanitation, where she was responsible for the regulation of municipal drinking water and wastewater services, and joined the Western Cape Provincial Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning as the Director for Pollution and Chemicals Management in 2003. Mrs. Davis-Wolmarans, welcome to our university. Welcome to the Faculty of Education, and we look forward to hearing your address this morning. We are grateful to have you here as our partner and as somebody who really has worked so many years in the water and sanitation sector, because I'm certain there's so much that you have to share with us this morning. So welcome, and we are pleased that you're here and to give your address to us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. As I was introduced, my name is Natasha. I'm not an academic, so I'm not a professor, I'm not a doctor. And so I felt I saw everybody sitting in this front row with their notes and things that, that they were going to say, which I think reflects that I'm really not an academic. I was just going to talk to you today. Okay, so the presentation is there. I just put together some visuals for you. It's not a lot of words, but I was introduced. Can you just go back? I'm not. I'm not an academic, but I am a scientist. I have qualifications in environmental and geographical sciences, and then also water management and governance. And I've worked in government my whole career. I've worked in government. So while in academic institutions you do a lot of research, we need to, as government departments, we work very closely with research institutions because we need to let them know what it is they should be researching, because there are very serious problems that need to be solved. And without that kind of research, you will always hear what you can't manage, what you don't know. So if we don't have the data, we don't have the information, we blind basically. We can't make any informed decisions on how we're going to solve some of these problems. So maybe just from my side, after I matriculated, I always knew I wanted to go into sciences because I liked to know how things work and why things are the way they are. But I wasn't sure what I wanted to do really. I just knew I wanted to go into the sciences. So when I went into my undergrad, initially I was thinking I was going to do medicine, but for those of you who've been looking into careers to do, if you want to do medicine, you have to get like straight A's and you have to be the top student in your school and stuff. So I wasn't that person. It's like a B average, so medicine was out for me. And also your parents, I don't know how it is now with you guys, but your parents also have a big influence in, they kind of just encourage you to do things that they know you're gonna get a job in. So for the parents here also maybe. So my mother said, you need to either do, medicine was one. Or you need to be an accountant, or you need to be a lawyer. So those were the three constant things that you're gonna get a job, you're gonna get paid well, and you will be secure. But for me, I didn't even do accounting at school. So accounting was out. I didn't want to do law because that's just a lot of reading, and that just wasn't me. So my mother was a bit worried when I said, okay, I'm gonna do the sciences. I thought I'm gonna focus on microbiology. That's what I want to do. First year, you do lab work and stuff. I hated being in a lab. I could not stand. I walked into the lab. I couldn't stand the smell in there. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. But fortunately, when you do an undergrad, you do a wide range of things so that you can still kind of suss out where your interests are. And for me, it was the environmental side. And environmental sciences and how our environment supports us. I mean, we can't survive without this environment sustains us, and if we don't look after it, then where are we going to be? And so that really intrigued me. What also intrigued me is that I wouldn't have to be in a lab. It's the environment, which means I can work outside. And you also, environment, water, it's not just about science, it's about people, which also intrigued me a lot. So I think just to start this off, clean water, clear minds, this is the National Science Week, and we do always try to encourage young learners to go into the sciences. But clear minds keep an open mind, because it's such a wide, I didn't study water specifically. In my honors year, I applied for an internship at Department of Water and Sanitation, and then got it. And then when I got into it, water is such a broad field. I will show you all the different types of careers, and it's not just about H2O. It's about people. It's about how that water is used. It's about what gets into that water. It's about health. Because we drink water, so it can, it's about people's health. It's about environmental health. I became very passionate about water, and I've been in it ever since. The last 2 years, I've been with environmental affairs and development planning, and although it's more broader now in the environment, so I work in a chief directorate called environmental quality, which deals with air quality. It deals with waste management, because waste is we all generate waste every single day, and where does that waste go? And did you ever think, when you flush a toilet, where does that actually go? When you wash dishes and you maybe use oils in your pots and all of that, it goes down the sink. Where does it go? For a lot of us, it just disappears. So, but it ends up somewhere, and it ends up in the environment. So with that, I think you can go to the next slide. So I'm sure you all know what this is, right? Yeah, even on our primary school side, you know what this is. Can you go to the next one? There's another version of it. So the first one, this one just includes groundwater as well. You can go to the next one. That's just a bit more complicated, showing the flows. So what is this? The water cycle. You can go to the next one. Just go back one. Yeah, so this is the water cycle. What I always found very interesting about the water cycle is that a cycle means that it's kind of a closed system, right? So all the water that we've ever had on this planet for like even 1 million years ago, it's the same water we have right now. The water that the dinosaurs drank is the same water we're using right now. It's a non-renewable resource. It's just we have this amount of water for the entire planet, and that's it. And we all have to use it. The tricky part is that it's in different forms and in different places at different times. So even in South Africa, what's a tricky situation for us is that we're a big country, but on the east coast, on the eastern side, the KwaZulu-Natals, they get way more rainfall than we do here. So how we manage water in the Western Cape is different to how we manage water in KZN and in Gauteng. And then we even have like countries within our country, which is very unique. So we have Lesotho and Swaziland, where the water even originates in those areas because they're so high up, and the water runs from their country into our country. So we need to even have these relationships with other countries to decide how are we going to manage this water, because water doesn't belong to anyone. When I worked at Department of Water Affairs, and if you'll see through the Constitution and the National Water Act, there's a department that's the custodian of water. So nobody owns it. They basically can say, okay, you're allowed to use this amount of water, and we will allow you to use this, but no one owns it because it's ours. And so when we talk about, what was it, clear minds, clean water, strong communities, it starts with communities because water belongs to all of us, and so we all have a responsibility, whether we are for me, in government, making sure that people don't pollute, making sure that people use water in the way that they need to, but you also use water in your own homes. And so at that level also you have a responsibility to make sure that you use it responsibly, to make sure that you don't pollute, because remember that's just that one bottle of water that we all have to share. And so whatever we do with that water affects the next person, and not just only people, but also the environment. We need that environment to sustain us. So where is the water on Earth? 97.2% of it is in oceans. We can't drink it. It's too salty. Then there's the glaciers. I think it's 22, what is that? 2.15% of it is in glaciers. So that is fresh water, but it's in ice. Also, we can't use it unless you're living in like the North Pole. And then we've got groundwater, lakes, rivers, and then we've got some water in the soil moisture and also in the atmosphere, and that's the water that we can actually use. That's only 0.65% of the total water available. So now we have this bottle of water, but we can only use the part that is available for us to use is less than 1%. So that makes it even more challenging, right? Next slide. So there you have a kind of graphic to show the big ball over there. That's all the water on the Earth. That represents all the water on the Earth. And that tiny little speck is what we actually get to use for our own needs. Next. Okay, so why is this important? I think you can already think why this is important. So water, as I said, is a finite resource. Next. And water is life. We can't survive without it. And there's no substitute for it. So like one of the previous speakers was saying, we can have a bottle of water. We can buy bottled water even, but can everybody afford to buy a bottle of water? No, they can't. And also just on paying for water, why do we pay for water? Because we don't just, stand with a cup outside collecting rainwater and then use it. The reason we pay for water is because we need to clean it, so it needs to first be collected. So how do we collect the water? We have to build a dam maybe, or we need to pump water from the ground. That costs money to do, because it's a lot of money to actually build big infrastructure like that. It's a lot of money to pump water out of the ground. Then it needs to go to a treatment plant, and it costs money to build that treatment plant. It costs money for people to get skilled people to be able to know how to clean that water. Then we need all the pipelines going to our houses. That costs money to install that. Every time there's a pipe burst, someone needs to go and fix it. So it's a lot of costs along the way, and that's why we actually pay for the water that we use. And that water that we pay for needs to the money that's paid for that needs to come back into that to be able to keep that whole system running. So that's why water is not free. But yeah, like I was saying, so as was mentioned already, our body is mostly water. The brain is 75% water, blood 83%, so we can't survive without it. Next. And then we also I'm sure you hear on the news and with Donald Trump things going on, we need to grow an economy. We have there's a lot of people in this country that don't have jobs. And if we don't have people, so like I was saying, we need to pay for water, right? If you don't have a job, you don't make money, you can't pay for water. If you don't pay for water, the people who clean that water and distribute that water don't have money to keep that system going. And so it has this knock-on effect. So we need water for food. We need some of that water. It's very important that goes to agriculture, because from agriculture we get food. And from agriculture also we export to other countries and grow an economy. You can go again. So why is this a challenge? Well, besides that little speck of water that we all have to share, our populations are growing very, very fast. You can see, so what this graph shows is like from 1950, sorry, it's not a very good quality, but from 1950, even like in the 2000s, so the graph was going like this. It's like nicely we're getting more people on the planet, and then all of a sudden it's like, and it's just grew by a huge, huge, huge amount. So now we have more people sharing this tiny speck of water. And what this shows is, so the yellow is the industrialized countries, which means kind of the developed countries. So those countries in Europe, they don't, their population isn't growing as fast as in developing countries. And what that means is that those, in this yellow part, most of those people have access to water already. So they've got their water and they're not growing that fast. In the green, developing countries like South Africa and others on the African continent, in Latin America and in Asia, those people, a lot of those people still need access to water. So of that spec, we know people were already using it. Now we have a lot more people using it, and a lot of people don't even have access to that water yet. So this is a huge challenge. So that's just about the quantity and how much water we have, right? But now with this growing population, what do you think, more people and more people and more people, what impact does that have on that tiny speck of water, besides just having enough of it? Because we do all kinds of activities, right? You can go to the next slide. So our cities are growing. We have, what that does when we have cities, we pave over everything. We have tarred roads, right? We remove all the vegetation so we can build buildings and houses. And we needed that vegetation because when it rains, what happens if we have a natural, let's say, vegetated area? It rains, the water gets soaked up into the ground. It gets nicely filtered through the soil, and we have what they'll call like an aquifer redraw. Aquifer is like a storage of water underground. And so, the water goes into the ground and it's stored there. But when we have roads and no natural vegetation and we're just building things, that water doesn't go into the ground anymore. It runs off the surface. If I drop water here now, it's just gonna kind of stream wherever it can go. And we drive cars, we have industries and things like that, so that water picks up all the stuff that it's running over. So all the car oils and all kinds of chemicals. And in big cities, we have stormwater drains. So when you're driving on the road and you see the water going off into the side drains, often it's blocked. But that eventually goes into stormwater canals, and where does it go? Into our rivers. And so that with all that dirt and stuff gets into our rivers. That picture up there with the informal settlements, we don't need to drive far to see informal settlements where people don't have formal housing. If you don't have a proper house, you don't have a tap in your house, you don't have a toilet in your house. And so, this block of toilets over here, those blue boxes over there, that's just a few that probably, I would say, up to 40 households could even use just that set of toilets. So those toilets don't function properly, and then what happens, it overflows, and just down on the other side of those blue blocks is the river. And so we get raw sewage and waste and things getting into our rivers and making it very, very polluted. Just on a lighter side, now that's not the water we drink, so don't worry about that too much. And then also that picture in the bottom there, we modify our rivers a lot in cities. So instead of it, a normal river would have nice vegetation on it, and you would have the rocks and things, but now we do this, we canalize it. So there's no sand in it, the water can't seep through. And so rivers have what's very nice about rivers is that they are self-cleansing. They can clean themselves if they are looked after. So a lot of the pollutants, some of the research that we do is how natural systems actually clean themselves. They can handle it, but then they need to have all the right vegetation, the natural vegetation in it, because rivers have good organisms in them. They've got fish. They've got these rocks where there's microbes that can grow on it, and that can break down nutrients and all kinds of things. But if it's like this, which we see in the city, there's nothing happening there. It's literally an open pipe for water to flow down. And so there's no cleansing going on there. And what happens here is children often play in that. Sometimes when it rains very heavily, this overflows. And that's definitely not clean water. You can go to the next one. Like I said, what happens when you flush your toilet? Did you ever think about it, where it goes? So that picture on the top is a picture of a wastewater treatment works. That's where it goes. And where there's biological processes that happen there that breaks down nutrients so that it cleans it up and it then goes back into the river. It works very well if people who are working there know what they're doing. So you need very skilled people to be able to manage that process. Scientists, in fact, and engineers. So some of them work very well, most of them don't. And so whatever they put back into the rivers is not what it's supposed to be. But again, like I said, comes back to strong communities. A lot of, so you see this bottom one here, that's an overflowing manhole, which we deal with a lot. We get a lot of complaints when we get sewage overflows that go into rivers and into neighborhoods. And I'm sure a lot of you would have experienced that as well. But it comes down to what people put in, what people flush down. And I'm not talking just about in informal settlements or in lower income neighborhoods, but I don't know if some of you saw, I don't know if the learners even, besides TikTok, how much news is on TikTok these days. But in Camps Bay, which is a very, very, very nice area, very, rich people live there. But you also get this because there, instead of using toilet paper, the reason we use toilet paper in toilet because it breaks very easily. It's soft. When it gets wet, it just crumples up. But on the Camps Bay side, a lot of people are using wet wipes. And wet wipes are strong, they don't break. And so they clog up all the pipes and then blocks up pumps, and then you get this. So even in Camps Bay, in very, very fancy areas, we're getting that kind of thing. Next. And then also agriculture. It's very nice when we leave the city and very beautiful landscapes, but also contributes to polluted rivers. So they use pesticides, fertilizers, which they apply to the plants, which then gets seeped into the groundwater. And pesticides obviously can be very harmful to people and to people's health, often related to cancer causing, And then also this picture on the bottom is where they till the soil. So they're basically removing top layers of fertile soil, which gets loose because they need to plant. But also that if it rains, then all of that washes into the rivers, and there's often a lot of leftover fertilizers and things in that soil, which then ends up in our rivers. So back to this water cycle. This is the one that you all know, right? So we've got, it rains, it goes into rivers, it evaporates, and it just goes round and round. What is missing from this picture? You can go to the next one. There's people missing from this picture because it's not as simple as that. If it was as simple as that, then we wouldn't really have a problem, because when we get people that water isn't as clean as it is anymore, even with air pollution, there are very fine particles in the air that you can't even see. And how does that affect in evaporation? And if it comes down in our rain again, do we still have those particles in there and certain chemicals that we should be worried about? And that's the kind of research scientists would do, so that we wouldn't, for us in government, we would need to say, okay, maybe we need a policy in place. Maybe we need to tell industries to put in some more measures, and so that's how that informs us. Next. So it really looks a bit more like this when you look at a real water cycle. And you can see it, so when I said in the beginning, water is very complex, and it's not just, you don't just get a water scientist who's gonna manage this. There's a lot of, I'd say, career paths or or skill sets that you need to manage that entire cycle, even down to wet wipes. That's a social issue. You need to be able to understand people's behavior, why they do certain things. And even, if you come down to education and teachers who speak to their learners, and how do we start to get people to understand what you can and can't put down, and how this impacts on the environment, the simple things that you think nothing about that has a huge impact downstream. Next. And then human impacts, climate change. I'm sure you all heard of that. We already mentioned day zero, which most of us would have experienced. It was really a difficult time, but it was very useful for us. We always say you never waste a good crisis, because that was the one time when if we could talk, before this happened, we were talking water conservation till we turned blue. But when day zero happened, people felt it and they realized like, okay. And I think a lot of people even since then are still you're still implementing those same practices. I know I do. I use my washing machine water to flush toilets or that kind of thing. But on the tariffs, I mean, if you're using grey water, you're using less water, but you're still being paid the same. You're still paying the same charge, which is something that needs to look at. And then we had a drought, 2018, it ended 2018, and then last year, massive floods. So it's like, we have no water, then we have too much water, and so it's a really, really dynamic field to work in. So coming back to the crux of it, Constitution says that everyone has the right to an environment that is not harmful to their health or well-being. We have the right for the environment to be protected through reasonable legislative and other measures. Everyone has the right, so including in that we need to prevent pollution and ecological degradation, which is where I'm kind of sitting now in the work that I do. We need to promote conservation and secure ecologically sustainable development. So next slide. So looking at that right in the Constitution, do you think that lady there at those toilets they had to put tires there to get to the toilet because things were overflowing or it's flooded, is that a healthy environment? It's definitely not clean water. Do you think you would have a good mindset living in a situation like that? No, you wouldn't. Would you be able to build strong communities there? I think if you were living in an environment like that, you're going to feel quite like depressed, and I'm not going to have any sense of community because I'm just living in this mess of a place. But this is the reality that a lot of people live in. And this is what we strive to fix. So one of the projects we have, specifically, so informal settlements and in terms of pollution and the runoff that comes out of there, it's really, really shocking stuff. And like I said, natural rivers have the capacity to clean themselves. So what we're actually doing, we have a water hub. We call it the water hub in Franschhoek. It's downstream of Langrich informal settlement. And so we are trying to use natural solutions, nature-based solutions, so that water that flows downstream from that informal settlement goes through natural filtration methods, and then we kind of divert it back into the river. So we clean it up a bit, and then it goes back. And then that we work very closely with universities. Not yet UWC, but we will bring you on board from today. But working closely with UCT Future Water Institute, University of Stellenbosch, but also the Technical University of Munich in Germany, who are very interested because in Germany, like I said, those developed countries, they all have access to water, but they are really feeling the brunt of climate change, and they have a lot less water than they used to. So they're looking to us now because we have that experience of drought and how we dealt with it, and so we're fostering those kind of partnerships. So it's a science managing the water quantity and quality, because what is science? Science is it's finding out why things happen the way they do, and applying it, like doing experiments and observing how things work. But why do we do it? We do it so that we can solve problems like this. So you can go through it quite quickly. So how much rain falls and where is it falling? We have climatologists who look at that, and look at weather patterns. That informs us, like, are we going to get another drought soon? Or are we going to get a flood? Or do we need to, what do we need to do to make sure that we have enough water? Where is the water available? We have hydrologists, geohydrologists who measure the flows. They can tell us, they do flood risk modeling, for instance. They can tell us where's the highest risk of a place flooding. And they can inform us about future droughts and things like that. Agronomists, those are the guys who know what crops to plant, where to plant them, how much water will we need to grow crops like that. And then obviously, what's in the water? And there's a lot in the water. You may have heard about antibiotics in water, how antibiotics get in there, because we take antibiotics into our bodies, we go to the toilet, a lot of it comes out, and then our wastewater treatment works aren't able to take that out. What we did find, though, is we are finding out with the nature-based solutions that we're implementing is that they're actually able to take out pharmaceuticals and things. So this is why we need to look after our environment, because our environment is a lot more effective than we think. We don't always need very, very high-tech engineering, infrastructure, concrete solutions. But nature itself, it knows how to take care of itself, essentially. And so that's what we are focusing on now. And then also, obviously, engineering, the civil, mechanical, electrical, chemical, all relevant in the water space, because that's how we treat the water. And then, like I said, we can't manage what we don't measure. So even in the fields of computer sciences, data modeling, statistical sciences, all of those skill sets are very much needed in managing water. I heard Vice Chancellor speak about the drones earlier. That's also something we're doing. So we have environmental law enforcement, so it's like environmental police in our department. And so they will use drones. So we have drone pilots, and they will actually use drones to see if there's any illegal activities going on in terms of maybe people building dams that they don't have authorization for, or using water illegally, or illegal dump sites and things like that. So yeah, and then also we also have a boat, for instance, where people have skipper's licenses and going out and doing monitoring on rivers, but also that boat is also used for law enforcement, so that we can drive around and then just make sure that people are not doing illegal things, because they do. But that, I think, is my last slide. This is an AI-generated logo for this, which I liked because it's circular. It doesn't start with clean water. It doesn't start with clear minds. It doesn't start with strong communities. But it could. If you have a strong community, we also are very much trying to engage with learners, but also with communities to take ownership. Like I said, it's not government's responsibility to fix everything, but it starts with a strong community. And if there's a strong community who says we don't want the situation where we're living, we want to look after our rivers, then that's a starting point to move towards clean water. And maybe it starts with a clear mind, actually, or an open one. But that's my story. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Davis-Volkmerans. That was so informative. You know, when you showed that small blob, I felt so guilty. And I was thinking in my mind of all the wrong things I've been doing, you know. So from today, there's no more 2 liters per person in my house. Everybody will cut down to 1 liter. So thank you so much. It was so informative, and I think we all learned something, especially to look at ourselves, that what can we do better? So what you also mentioned, that you're still using the old way of doing things, you know, you're using your machine water to flush the toilet. I still shower with a little bit of water. So I went somewhere in Joburg, and then I opened the shower, and the shower came out. So I thought there was something wrong with the shower, because the water was so high, the pressure was so high. So I closed, and then I went to call for help, that I think there's something wrong. They said, no, this is how we wash here, because I'm not used to it because of day 0. So I think we all learned something today, that what can we do better to preserve our water? What can we do better to keep our communities clean and our water clean, so that we can have stronger communities? So thank you very much. We really appreciate. Oh, and yes, we do invite you to work with UWC. Whenever you are ready, please come. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give Ms. Volkmerans another round of applause? Thank you very much. So to the podium now, I want to invite our host, Dr. Benita Nell, to announce the winners for the art this morning. So we invite you and we thank you for organizing this day. It is a beautiful day. It's as if you knew the weather as well. It's beautiful outside. The sun is out. So thank you very much for inviting us and allowing us to be here. So please come. Okay.
I now feel so guilty that I come with my piece of paper. Yeah. I'm very happy to have all of you here. We in the Science Learning Center for Africa, we have our National Science Week event linked with an art competition. So last year the theme was astronomy, and this year our theme is, as you know, can you remind me, what is our theme? Clean water, clear minds, strong communities, yes. And my question is, what will you do to ensure that we have clean water, that we have clear minds, and a strong community? Because if the water is not clean, it is dirty. And if I drink dirty water, you will get sick. And if you get sick, somebody must look after you. Somebody must stay at home. And our communities is not that strong. Because to be sick has got its own consequences. While I was listening to the different speakers, I realized my mother taught us something very significant. And at the time, I didn't really realize it. The morning when she starts washing her face, she doesn't open the tap first. She puts the plug in first in the basin, and then she opens the tap. Meaning, the water is not going to flow out of the basin, it's going to stay inside the basin. And when there's enough water, she can close the tap and use less water. Can you, all our learners, go home and ask their parents, in 2018, when day 0 was approaching, what were the things that they did differently in order to save our water? Can you do that? I can specifically remember it was 2018 when we approached day 0, because I was in a specific space in my life. Okay? Our National Science Week event, we had a bigger number of entries. We had 174 entries. Last year we had 120 entries. The year before we had 60 entries. So we're not sure if we must stop here, Professor Govender, and if we must increase. Mr. Chad Franz, can you come closer, please? So last year, we had our academics doing the adjudication. This year, we upped our game and we got art specialists to come and do the adjudication. Not just from the Western Cape, but also from Northwest Province. I don't see Mr. Chad Franz yet. He needs to be here. So we had an inquiry where the parents asked us, are the adjudicators qualified? And then we changed our game and we got qualified art people to do the adjudication. We're very privileged to have entries right across the country. But that meant a different challenge. They all cannot be here when we do the award ceremony. But fortunate with technology, we live streamed this event and they will be able to follow us wherever they are. So this is the wonderful thing of technology. And still, there's Mr. Chad Franz coming. We had a foundation phase category, that is grade 1 to 3, and Ms. Dr. Riffel is going to help us with that award. And then we have a intercent phase, grade 4 to 7, a high school category, and then a tertiary category. In most of the cases, all our winners are not here. But let's start. Dr. Riffel? Our third prize for our foundation phase, that's a person from the Midrand, is Shay Govender from Curio, Midrand, Sagewood. And our second prize is Tila van Niekerk. She's from Laerskool Hendrik Lou, and she's from Pringle Bay. You must come.
Which prize?
That's the second prize. And she's here. Our first prize in the grade 1 to 3 is Ira Moos from Concordia Primary in Neisner. Thank you very much, Dr. Riffel. Dr. Hamid is going to assist us with the intercent phase, grade 4 to 7. So here we've got two third prizes. It's Lizelle Wesraad from Hekpoort in Gauteng, who is not here. Congratulations, Lizelle. Our second third prize is Lucia van der Ros of Portland Primary School. This is the school with the most entries. And we were a bit surprised that so few raised their hands because we had most of the entries from them. Our second prize in grade 4 to 7 category, it is Alexander Grant from Forest Village Leadership Academy here in Eersterivier. And the winner for the grade 4 to 7 category is Hope Trotter from Concordia Primary in Neisner. Then we move to the high school category. Dr. Barco, if you can just stand next to me, because all the winners here are not from Gauteng province, but don't we have a nice picture of Dr. Barco there? The third prize for grade 8 to 12 is Arabella King from St. Henry Marist College in Durban. Our second prize is Tandu Nkosi from Mpeleswani Secondary School in Gauteng. And our winner, this winner was unanimously selected by the adjudicators. She is Rita Bile Matita Pumpkin from Matiwane Combined School in Gauteng. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
I need a handshake.
Then, For the tertiary category, we have Mr. Rory Emmett. Mr. Rory Emmett is one of the few adjudicators from the Western Cape. He's affiliated to Ezekiel Museums. Thank you very much for being here. He did his 15-kilometer run this morning before. 24 kilometers, I'm very sorry. I thought 15 will make me feel better. Thank you very much for being here. The winner in the tertiary category is not here, but she sent somebody, a friend of hers, to represent her. That is Sancha van Niekerk from the University of South Africa. Is a friend here? Then a friend is not here to collect the prize. We will send her the prize. We can just leave it. But then we are also fortunate, Mr. Rory Ryan will assist us in handing out the prize to the school with the most entries in our National Science Art Competition, and they are Portland Primary School. It's the principal, Mrs. Demink, and also the art teacher, Mr. Jenniker. Why is Mr. Jenniker not also coming to the front? Congratulations. The school received a gift from Ezekiel Museums where they can take 30 learners to Ezekiel Museums, to the planetarium. A bus will pick them up free of charge, and they will have the planetarium show, and they will also get some snacks. So luckily they're in the Western Cape. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nell, for the announcements, and congratulations to all the winners, both here in the Western Cape and across the country. I think it makes science very interesting when we mix it with art, and I think it's something that we as a university, especially my faculty, which is the Faculty of Natural Sciences, that we need to look at the incorporation of art in what we are doing. So congratulations to the winners, and congratulations to the participants as well that have put in the competitions and put in their artwork for consideration for the awards. So well done to everyone. Now we are at the end of our program, and I want to invite Ms. Zed Ali to give a closing remark this morning. Welcome, Ms. Ali.
Good morning. Morning. I'll start with the saying from Woody Allen that 90% of success is showing up. And in Cape Town, we would say, uitsteek as die mynding. So with that, thank you all for showing up and make this lovely opportunity where art and science merge to give us something new and wonderful. So with that, of course, by showing up, of course, our esteemed guests are here, and that's Professor Balfour. And just to give you a little bit of hints, he's well renowned in his research. He's a emeritus scholar. But what I like about his academic pillars is the one that is also one that is based in education. Am I correct? So we have all the educational faculties here. And then, of course, our esteemed Dean, Professor Govender. Yes, he's a man of numbers, or professor of numbers, but he leads as a person. So that's what makes it great. Thank you, Professor Govender. And then, of course, our plenary speaker, that is now Mrs. He said I must tell you Mrs., so I will go with the Mrs. I don't know. And that's our plenary speaker for giving our learners a great insight with regards to the research within water. So you have to come. This is Natasha Davis Wolverine. Boomerangs. Pronunciation is a speaker's choice, but we'll get there. So, of course, when we have our lovely MC, Professor Van Alwa, a professor of chemistry, but her heart is rooted in community. So, Professor Van Alwa, thank you so much. Ooh, modeling here, hey? And then we have also Dr. Joyce Robertson and a team. Thank you so much. She's in the senior researcher of the public health and education. As you can see, education's thread is going all through here, hey? Is Dr. Joyce here? Okay, but you'll get to meet her later when you do the gallery hawks. Ah, there she is. Of course, where's TK? You know, your magician needs a beautiful assistant. We couldn't get one, but we found TK. I'm kidding. No, just for the, thank you so much. I will give it a try. And as Dr. Nala said, this particular aspect of the Natural Science Week is very much important with regards to the art competition, and they had to grit their teeth to get all the equipped, well-equipped educators. And ex-university of our rector, 3 of them were from the Northwest University. So that's good, and that is Dr. Ramuluma. There we go, as you can see there. And there's Miss Eunice Pretorius and Miss Lila Adams. Those 3 are from NWU, Northwest University. And then we have also a great thanks to Mrs. Celeste Arendse from the WCED, that's the Western Cape Education Department. And you all know also Mr. Rory Emmett from the Ezekiel Museums. So thank you to all those 5 adjudicators. If you can. And of course, yes, the lovely winners, which was probably all of you, but we only have a certain amount of prizes. So we have the sponsors of the prizes. That's, of course, a Standard Bank. And then the Ezekiel Museums, as always. And the Cape Books and College Supplies. So thank you to the sponsors. Yeah, give them a hand. And as you all will see when I'm finished here is, of course, the gallery display. And that is from the Ezekiel Museums, Itemba Labs, also from the physics department in the science faculty. That's Drs. Herbert and Baku. And then we have also Dr. Alvin Riffel and his team. Oh, you want to you want to take a picture? Let's come and take a picture. So if I say his team, all school-based.
They are part of the what we call STEM Club. It's a school from Strand. I myself matriculated at the school, Strand Secondary. I started teaching at the school, and now we're just ploughing back. And what the dean really likes is when our lecturers does community of practice, and this is the results where we lure them into campus. They're going to be upstairs displaying the what we call indigenous knowledge systems clay pot filtration system. So they're going to be, if you want to speak to them, get more info. And then also, we're looking forward to hosting them. The rector actually invited them to come and study here. So can you believe it this morning?
Thank you.
The rector personally spoke to them.
And then, of course, also one of the displays is from our coding and robotics team, and that is Dr. Ghasant Hamid and Dr. Tony Williams. And then lastly, with regards to the gallery displays is obviously Mr. TK Sabotsa, him and his puppets. Thank you. Please go and enjoy all these gallery displays and interact. And of course, you guys won't be here if we didn't have Chad. We keep him fit by running up and down and contacting all of you guys. So Chad Franz, a big thank you to you for the glue in here. And yes, I've started with a phrase from Woody Allen, but I would like to end and change it a little bit. Success is showing up. But for me, success is not just showing up, but it's about being engaged. So with that note, please go and be engaged. Thank you.
Ms. Ali, thank you so much. Dr. Nell, I'm going to call you up again just to give us directions of what will happen now as we move forward with the program. Parents, teachers, thank you so much. I think I'll invite the teachers to just have a photo with Dr. Nell once all the students have gone up, and also to have a photo with the VC as well as the Dean. But Dr. Nell, I just want you to come up and just give directions of what will happen now. Thank you, everyone. It was lovely. Thank you, everyone.
So this year, we also decided that the learners must also do more. So the learners will now go to the laboratories where Dr. Joyce Robertson will show them how to purify water, because we need to work with clean water. So she's going to show you how to do it. The primary school learners are going to the first floor. Mr. Chad Franz will take you up. So the primary school learners go up the stairs. To that side, there's 2 labs. Half of you go into the one lab and half into the other one. And then the high school learners, you go to the lab here. All of you will fit in there. And that will be what we'll be doing next. The adults, you can go up to the gallery walk, and you can see the artwork of the learners. It's there on the screen. And there's also different exhibitions that you can observe up till 11:45. At 11:45, you will be able to have some refreshments. The parents of Portland Primary go to classroom 2, it's there. And their learners' food will also be there, their packs. And then Edgemead will be in classroom 1, it will be there. That will be after you've done your lab work, and then you also can go and everybody, all the learners, after the parents and the adults, then they go and do the gallery walk. You can ask questions, and there's some very eager people to meet you. And that's from our side. Thank you very much.